Hi there, it's Sarah from Inspire Tarot. Welcome back to the channel. So today's cards, when I first started doing tarot, I would see the Three of Swords and I would immediately panic. But I think as I've understood the meaning of the cards over time, you begin to see all of the cards as a wonderful opportunity for healing and growth. Even to the point where some of the darker cards you actually think they're you just like them more because the healing and transformational power of them is very pivotal and exciting. Yeah, we all like to see the happy cards come out, but yeah, if we're really inspired and into our spiritual path, then we know that the most growth comes from going through the darkness. So yeah, it's good to get to a stage where you do actually feel inspired by the darker things of going through the shadow, because you know that once you face things in the shadow and allow the spirit to guide you through these darker experiences, then you do get to up level, and the more you up level, the happier you feel. So, and the more you start to trust the process, we know that the spirit has got us, even through every seemingly difficult and dark experience. Many of the characters in the Bible endured horrific experiences, but they were all redeemed in the end because they chose to see things in the way the Spirit wants us to see them, to forgive everyone and to just understand that we're having the ego undone is a painful process, but it's worth it, because anything that leads us back to our unified state, our purified state, brings us happiness, and it brings us a much more simple life. So yeah, I know for a fact that the deeper I go into my spiritual journey, the more I just appreciate the opportunities to level up and heal. And you can have your heart in your mouth many times, but the growth that comes from them is exponential, and it's very exciting. So with the Three of Swords, we can see that there's been some sort of betrayal. Somebody that we've put, or somebody or something that we've put your trust in has let us down. And I think often this is a wonderful way for us to see why someone has let us down, because we have to remember that the world is a mirror. So if somebody else has let us down, then it's always a reflection of it, that we've let ourselves down. And immediately we tend to want to blame the other person and see them as a monster, and we're innocent and we're a victim. But we realise very quickly that doesn't get us anywhere. It just feels really powerless and painful, and we may appreciate and get some juice out of it. In fact, sometimes I do feel as though you do really have to feel the powerlessness and the pain. It almost like fuels you forward. It forces you to grow, to go through it. So yeah, we definitely need to experience the pain of the feelings of being betrayed, but then we need to flip the script and go back to our right mind and really see that there's a lesson in everything. And every time something bad happens, if we look at it the right way, then the opportunities for growth are phenomenal. I like to look at all the ways that we betray ourselves and don't realise it and project that onto another person. So a good thing that I can recommend to do is write down all the things that upset you about a relationship or a person or a situation, all the ways that you feel disempowered and hurt and betrayed. Write them all down and then flip them back on yourself. Look at all the ways that we do these things to ourselves. How do we ignore ourselves? How do we not value ourselves? How do we lie to ourselves? How do we not care about ourselves? How do we not process our emotions? How do we not accept ourselves? How do we not value ourselves? How do we not let ourselves experience joy and happiness? And once we flip the script and put the attention back on ourselves, then we can really look at what it is that we're doing. I think this is the most empowering thing about the spiritual path, is that we really get to look at the ways in which we're not good to ourselves, the way the ways in which we prioritise other people, or even the ways in which we're completely blissfully unaware that we're not speaking our truth. Quite often, as a young person, we can be so silenced that we eventually just disown ourselves and give up. But we're also not even really aware that we're doing it. It's become so habitual. And the only way we know that we're doing it is that we feel pain and that other people don't seem to be treating us well. So the external world is always our feedback loop. It's always our mirror showing us what we're doing inside ourselves. And the greatest mistake is to judge the mirror and judge the other people and see them as bad. Because we always reap what we sow. So if we think negatively about other people, then we're just going to create more negative people in our life and more negative experiences. So we really do need to transmute and turn our pain into power. And yeah, I think once we understand that we are love and that love comes from within, that we don't need love from without, it is easier to let go of people and let go of resentment. Once we really step into our power, we can see how much power we have to heal ourselves, how much easier life is when we forgive. We let go of our interpretations of everything. Any interpretation, any painful feeling that we have, painful feelings always come from misinterpretation. And I think this is a wonderful thing to know. And we can always ask the Spirit for a reinterpretation of what's happening. And what usually happens is the Spirit will say, that the other person is calling for love, their behaviour is unconscious, and that we shouldn't take it personally because really it's about them. We have a tendency to take it personally and think it's about us, but it's never really about us. It's about their own pain and their own issues. So the most mature and loving thing we can do as the Queen of Cups is to forgive and to see that everybody's doing their best, including ourselves, and that forgiveness returns everything to neutral. In A Course in Miracles, it talks about all human behaviour is love or a call for love. And I love that because sometimes you can feel really victimised and disempowered by somebody. But then when you look at it that way, that their behaviour is just a call for love, a call for help, that they're stuck and they're struggling and they don't really want to treat you in a poor way, but that's the best they can do. And it's not that you want to see them from the eyes of self-pity, it's just that you want to see that they're just as innocent as you are and that everyone's doing their best. So yeah, I think the Seven of Wands is a wonderful card. To me, it's all about having the courage of our convictions to heal. And we can see with the Queen of Cups that the Queen of Cups is a very kind of healed and mature emotional state to be in. So this is not the first rodeo for the Queen of Cups. He or she has had to have the courage of their convictions many times over to stay committed to the spiritual journey, to stay committed to reinterpreting everything with the Spirit and to forgive and grow and learn what works and what doesn't work. One of the things that I found is very important on the journey is speaking up, not people pleasing, and being very honest about how we feel and what we want. Because if we hide from ourselves and we hide from others, then everything it never works out. Things don't work. We have to be authentic. We have to all be equal. We can't put someone on a pedestal and then get annoyed when they look down on us. We really do have to stay in our power and see everyone as equal. And think expectations and things can make relationships complicated. But essentially we need to let go of expectations on the healing path, because expectations are premeditated resentments. I love that quote that I heard somewhere. It's fantastic. Whenever we expect someone to be a certain way, it's usually because we don't want them to trigger us. We want them to soothe our distortions without us having to do the inner work, which is really never going to work in the longer term, because we need to go through our distortions to heal. The Spirit knows that the only way out of the darkness back to the light is to heal and face all our triggers. We can't avoid them on the spiritual journey. So yeah, definitely we need to feel our feelings, really sit with our feelings. We feel hurt and betrayed. We'll go through many different stages when it comes to healing. Initially, we just need to kind of understand what went wrong. Once we come out of a relationship, we tend to come out of a fog. Our distortions are, we can be very enmeshed and mixed up with another person. And once we separate ourselves, we start to be able to see how much of it is ourselves, and eventually we realise that all of it is ourselves. You know, that we played into the patterns, and everything is there to help us and show us. So the best thing to do is, heal the feelings, really let them pass through without judgment, without resistance. I find that the feelings can pass through quite quickly. Or sometimes we might need a really deep purge. We might need to cry and comfort ourselves through the whole process. But we always come out stronger. And healing is never linear. I don't really understand the ways the Spirit manages to heal us. We just have to be willing. You know, we can't awaken ourselves because we don't know how to awaken ourselves, because we're in our distorted state. We don't really know how to do that. But the Spirit can always guide us through the signs and symbols of the world. So, yeah, that's my reading for today. I hope it helps. I love you all. See you again.